Welcome. If you are getting ready for your JAMB exams, then you absolutely know that the Lekki Headmaster is a must-read. Today, we are going to break down everything that happens in those crucial first 5 chapters just to give you a real head start. All right, let's dive right into the drama at Stardom Schools. So, here's our game plan. We're going to walk through this chapter by chapter, starting with a principal's absolutely shocking public breakdown. Then we'll get into the immense pressure he's under and the secrets and nightmares that are haunting the whole school community. We'll wrap things up with a discovery that threatens to expose a massive crisis, right at the heart of Stardom Schools. Okay, so our story kicks off on what seems like a totally normal Monday morning at Stardom Schools. But right in the middle of the assembly, something happens that nobody, not the students, not the staff, could have ever seen coming. This is our very first look at the principal, Mr. Bepo Adewale. And right away, the author tells us that something is just off. This is a man who's usually so sharp and put together, but now he's slow, deliberate, and that trademark morning smile of his, it's completely gone. Now, this breakdown doesn't just happen all at once. No, it's this slow, really agonizing collapse right in front of everybody. First, there's this super awkward silence where he just can't speak. Then the tears start, the microphone clatters to the floor, and finally he just completely loses it, leaving the entire school in total, stunned silence. So, the vice principal, Mrs. Ape, and some other staff members, they rush over to his side as the school's very powerful managing director is called. But even later, in her office, after he's had a moment to himself, all a distraught Mr. Bepo can say is, "Thank you, I will be all right." Which, doesn't explain anything. The mystery just gets deeper. So, the big question is, why? Why did he break down like that? To get to the bottom of his tears, Chapter 2 actually takes us back 5 days. And we learn that this wasn't some sudden thing, but actually the breaking point after a long, long period of this huge unspoken pressure. And this is the core of his problem. On one hand, he loves his job. He loves his whole identity as the Lekki Headmaster. But on the other hand, his wife, Siri, and their kids are already in the UK. She's even found a job for him over there. And the constant pressure to just leave everything behind is tearing their marriage apart. And here's where that pressure becomes just undeniable. I mean, look at the numbers. What Siri could potentially earn as a nurse in the UK completely dwarfs his very respectable principal's salary in Nigeria. This isn't just a little raise we're talking about. It's a life-changing economic gap. Even his own colleagues can see the writing on the wall. In the staff room, you've got some people debating the high cost of living abroad. But the fine arts teacher, Mr. Adu, he's just blunt about it. He says comparing N400,000 to a potential N17 million is just illogical. So for Mr. Bepo, this isn't just a career choice anymore. It feels like an economic battle that he's destined to lose. So because he's so torn by this decision, Mr. Bepo starts looking for answers in other people's experiences. He starts digging into the stories of other Nigerians who have joined the Japa wave, that huge trend of relocating abroad. He's hoping to find a reason to stay, or maybe the courage he needs to leave. What he finds is a really complex reality. For every success story, like his old colleague Sola, who loves the UK's healthcare and schools, there's a serious cautionary tale. He's reminded of Chief Walliam, a rich man whose sudden death left his family with nothing. He thinks about Hope, who was abandoned by the husband she sponsored, Andy Candeli, working these grueling, lonely shifts in America. The message is crystal clear. That dream of a better life comes with absolutely no guarantees. Now, while Mr. Bepo is struggling with his own future, we start to see that Stardom Schools is basically its own pressure cooker. It's like a small version of the wider world, and his students' families are all facing their own devastating problems. And this turmoil hits really close to home. Late one night, just before midnight, he gets a frantic call from a parent, Mrs. Ignatius. Their family's dream of moving to London has just been completely destroyed. A mandatory DNA test for their visa has uncovered a devastating family secret, which got their application denied and basically imploded their entire lives. And the Ignatius family isn't the only one in crisis. Across the city, the school's powerful managing director, Mrs. Liddale, who is better known as Mrs. Gloss, is dealing with a totally different but just as disruptive problem at home. Her youngest daughter, Bibi, wakes the whole house up with her screams. She's just had a terrifying nightmare about her social studies teacher, Mr. Ayasoro. And the reason she's so scared? His prominent tribal marks. For Mrs. Gloss, a child's nightmare has just turned into a very serious professional problem. After a long school break, Mrs. Gloss decides to take a walk around the grounds. Now, the chapter is titled The Snake on the Roof, which is a pretty great metaphor for some kind of hidden danger. She doesn't find a literal snake, but she discovers something that makes her question the integrity of her entire staff. On a plot of land the school just bought, she finds this unofficial car park. But these are not just any cars. It's a whole fleet, including a massive Toyota muscle SUV and 2 brand new buses. And she quickly realizes they all belong to her staff. Her mind immediately jumps to the worst-case scenario. How on earth can teachers and storekeepers afford these kinds of vehicles? Her fear is so real as she calls for the principal and the accountant, completely convinced that there is a major leak in the school's finances. She thinks her staff is stealing from her to fund these lavish lifestyles. And so after just 5 chapters, the very foundations of Stardom Schools are shaking. The principal is at his breaking point. Families are being torn apart by secrets. And now there's this huge suspicion of corruption among the staff. It's a perfect storm of crises. The big question that's just left hanging is, what is the true source of the staff's sudden wealth? And can the school even survive